Senator, good to have you.
Thanks, Neil.
A lot of people are looking at financial transactions without oversimplifying it, Senator, that in the Manafort case and in other cases that have come up, it's this issue of, who was doing what with various money and proceeds that came in. There are huge distinctions between individuals, obviously the president's campaign team and what have you. But is it your sense that whatever comes of the Mueller probe, that it is veered there?
Well, I think the Manafort case that we've been considering for a while has nothing to do with Russia, apparently, right? It has to do with either filling out the right paperwork or tax evasion. And I guess when I look at it from a distance, I have some sympathy for the Paul Manafort as a man. I have some sympathy for the idea that maybe we've gone too far in having life imprisonment and 20-year sentences for like every possible tax evasion or not filing the appropriate lobbying forms. I think we've gone crazy on criminalizing everything under the sun. And what happens is it adds up to he will never have physically hurt somebody, and yet he's going to be, add up all these things. If he were guilty, he'd get like 6 life terms. I think we've gone too far, and we need to reassess what we do. Also, the power of the prosecutor to hold life sentences over people for nonviolent paperwork crimes and then say, give us up somebody else. There's a great incentive for people to give up somebody who also may not be guilty simply because they're afraid of spending their life in prison.
And, obviously, even if he survives this round, he has to sit and stew in a jail cell for the next round later in the fall. Having said that, we now have got wind, as you know, sir, that Donald McGahn, the White House counsel, has spent better than 30 hours talking to the Bob Mueller folks. Now, the administration has made it clear that they welcomed this, that they had waived executive privilege, allowed him to do so. But do you think just the sheer number of hours that he has talked to Mueller raised concerns?
Well, I think it shows that President Trump and his administration want to cooperate, or they never would have. They could have easily said no to any of these requests. So the fact that he did cooperate for 30 hours shows the Trump administration really wants to cooperate. I think the problem is this. We have a prosecutor that has such enormous power that they seem not to want to rest until they talk to President Trump. But are they going to talk to President Trump about a business deal 25 years ago in Europe and expect him to recount the details of that? And if he gets the details wrong, all of a sudden he's a convicted felon. Now, this is a terrible amount of power. It's a terrible situation. I don't wish this on anyone. And it's really why I've become a stronger and stronger believer that we really shouldn't have these special prosecutors, period. It's kind of maybe too late in this instance, but I think they don't serve any good because they have too much power over ruining people's lives and trying to get people to give up information that may or may not be true.
Now, if you're right, and I know that has been the administration's argument, that they went ahead and were quite happy with Mr. McGahn going ahead and talking to Mueller, but they didn't send any representative there with him. And it seems to me they were a little surprised by the amount of time and hours that he spent with Mueller. Some have likened that to maybe this administration's version of John Dean. What do you think?
I think that's overwrought and speculation, and I haven't heard anybody in the administration. I've been in and around the people in the administration. I've heard anybody say that it wasn't anything other than consensual and encouraged by the Trump administration because they wanted to make sure that the truth got out there. But here's the problem. Let's say I know nothing about this and the FBI wants me to testify on something. I would probably say no because I'm petrified that they would try to trick me into saying something or misstating something or misremembering something, and all of a sudden you get 5 years in prison. So I think we've made it such that the penalties are so draconian that any normal person would be afraid to speak to the FBI. And we also now see an FBI that's become so politicized. I think James Comey has so tarnished the reputation of the FBI that most people would think, well, gosh, if I go in, it may be that they hate President Trump, and because I'm a Republican, they're going to hate me too. So James Comey has done a great deal to tarnish the reputation of a great group of people. I know a lot of FBI agents. They don't deserve this, but that's the situation we're in now. And this is a highly political investigation that really the only thing that's come out of it so far is we seem to be indicting Russians over something, hacking somebody's emails, okay, and we seem to be indicting people like Paul Manafort for something that has no connection really to Russia or to Donald Trump.
Now, you're very close to the president. I believe you were golfing with him in New Jersey this past weekend. Was he relaying his frustration with this process? He had sent out a lot of nasty tweets about this witch hunt. He's often talked about the Mueller investigation sort of, deteriorating into that. What did he tell you?
No, I didn't seem to be too focused on any of that. I think he was probably more focused on wanting to know how my trip to Russia was, how we can have better engagement and try to get beyond into a better place in the world with people who may well be our adversaries at times, but also may be people that we have to have conversations in order to resolve things like Syria, in order to resolve and continue to lessen the danger of nuclear weapons. And so I think he is very interested in the bigger picture of things. And I don't think he is obsessed or somehow, obviously he doesn't like the Mueller investigation. I don't like the Mueller investigation, but I think he's able to handle the problems of the country. And we've done some incredible things. I mean, between the tax cut, the Supreme Court, regulatory reform, I think a lot of great things have happened for the country over the last 2 years.
Is he bitter that that doesn't get out there as much as the stuff like this?
Well, I think a lot of Republicans are. When I go to the Republican Senate caucus lunch and we talk about it, we talk about how we have to reiterate it because some media outlets have become so fixated on Russia. But then when you ask them, if you do a survey, what kind of issues are you interested in? They're interested in jobs, the economy, immigration, border control, but they don't seem to be fixed on this Russia thing. In fact, there are so many details of the Russia thing that I think all of us have to sort of reread the stories to catch up on exactly what the timeline of who said what when. It's very confusing, but it really isn't affecting most people's normal lives. And I think most people think that it's gone on too long.
Real quickly, my producer's going to kill me, but former CIA Director Brennan is eager to challenge the president taking his security clearance away. Might sue him. The president welcomes that. How do you feel about it?
I think John Brennan's actually a national security risk to the country, and we are safer because his security clearance is gone. And the reason I say that is in 2012, he actually released information to other ex-CIA agents who went on TV and said, oh, we've got a double agent in Yemen. Well, at the time, there was a double agent in Yemen, and his life was put, his or her, I don't know who it was, their life was put at risk because of John Brennan's, releasing information that he shouldn't have. John Brennan was also involved with illegally looking at Democrats' computers who were investigating CIA torture and then lying about it before a committee. So John Brennan should have been fired for cause long ago, and he shouldn't be within a mile of classified information because he's a national security risk. He doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut, and now he's someone who's going out there saying the commander-in-chief is treasonous. I don't know how you can be in the chain of information if you're saying that the commander-in-chief should be put to death for treason. So yeah, John Brennan's way out there, absurdly out there, and needs to have no connection to government ever again.
Senator Rand Paul, thank you very much. Good seeing you again.
Thank you.